Hello and welcome to Train Sim TV. Today we're going to be having a look at the Class 86/2 and it is a showcase. It's not a review because my involvement with Just Train means it's not fair for us to review our own stuff. But basically we're going to be taking a drive. I'm going to do a scenario for a change as well because I don't normally do these on videos such for like a showcase. It's normally a timetable. So first of all, let me just show you what you get scenario wise. So it comes with 5 as we sort of normally do at JT side of things. You've got a helping hand, which is step in and operate a London-bound service after the book Locomotive has suffered a fault. Delayed and rerouted, which is what we're going to be running on the video, is operate a late-running cross-country service from Preston to Lancaster and back. You have missed a slot, and you'll be required to clear the line for other services. Cross-country can operate a northbound service that is subject to a speed restriction due to a track defect. Can you keep to time? The European operate a Loco hull boat train from Preston to Carlisle. And finally, it's coming home. Operate a special Footex charter from Carlisle to Preston. Expect adverse signals along the way. So that is what you get in that. I'm just going to quickly show you as well before I jump into the scenario itself, just what you can come to find on the timetable. What it does is substitutes in from the 87. So originally these were 87 services, but if you get the 86, then you will have these changed onto the services that they should have been on. But apologies if you can hear the USB. I'm going to take that out. I've got a knackered headset. I think it should cope for an hour. The battery dies quite soon, sadly. So yeah, you get all the these are all the liveries and variations that you can see there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those. They're all various different guises of the intercity livery. So like IC1, 2s and 3s, BR Blues, the white sort of grey roof version, which is 233, and yeah. Differences in lights, like the marker lights, they are CH cables, and different pantographs you can find as well when you jump on these, and nameplates as well. And you get 36 services that you can run on there. Obviously you can take it onto your own different routes, your own. It does seem to apparently work on the military's timetable as well. It's actually appearing, so essentially you could actually run the military timetable and you should be alright. Right. Let's get into our scenario for today, and it is delayed and rerouted. Quite a fun scenario. I mean, it's only an hour and 5 minutes, but I thought this one was quite fun when I tested it. Scenarios are provided again by SimTrack Studios, who do a fantastic job, the JT scenario stuff. And no exceptions are here as well. They are just as good as the last lot. Maybe even more better. There you're sitting spare at Preston. You've been called away from your dinner to talk to the station foreman. There he is. Over to him. Talk to him. Thank you for coming across so quickly. You're welcome. The driver for the 1805 has gone on well. Set is waiting for you on platform 2. Okay. Right, here we are. Set is waiting. So I'm just going to show you first of all what we've got on this one. Well, this one's got an NHA on it. And the VG, lots of it. No Buffy car on this one though. You'll see the Buffy car at some point down the line though. Don't worry, we might even see one to be found on this drive. Right, we've got Duke of Wellington. 230 for this one. Sit in the seat, take it over. Right. Change ends already on. Isolation switch on. Cancelled the AWS. Master key on. I'll put that into 4 in a minute. I need to put the vigilance on. So to do that, with the 87, you come into the machine room. And it's this on the end here. Just literally click it. You can do all sorts in here. You can isolate motors and isolate all sorts of bits and bobs on it. You can isolate lights and heating stuff, tap changer stuff. Also brakes timing switches up here as well for passengers, or vacuum passenger air and stuff like that. There's all sorts you can play about with in there. You can have some good fun if you really want to give yourself a challenge. Other things to note on the 86 as well. In the cab, it's a little bit different. You've got a handbrake wheel on this one rather than a. I think it was a switch on the 87. As well on the bulkhead, the isolation gear is a little bit centralized compared to the 87, which was further over this side. All very centralized. The door as well is a little bit different. You can actually see in this one. On the 87, you couldn't actually see inside. Got your corridor switches and stuff on there. There's cab lights as well. You've also got another cab light there. Hot plates are a thing again. Different on the 86. One's a square sort of rectangular one, and the other one's a rounded one at the other cab, so they are different. Fire alarm. You test, that all works again. Coming down into the driver's desk, so we'll jump in here. Forward. Get ourselves into first application. Unlock those doors. So just a couple of bits. So again, you can play with the seat adjuster if you wish. I like sitting high up. Coming across, it's a little bit different on the 86 compared to the 87. One to note is the notch indicator, which is this one on the end. On the 87, it had 2 because you could work in multi. However, on the 86/2, they only work as 1 loco. They are not freight locos either, so you only get 1 reading off the locomotive you're on. Note it as well with your amps. It's quite easy compared to the 87 to blow this. It goes a little quicker on that side of things. When it gets going, it won't take as long to get into the red. So let's take the brakes off. Right, straight up to Lancaster. Now I'm just going to jump out and do a heads out around on the coaches because the coaches have new audio. So some of the new sounds there, such as new track joints, flange sound, running sound. Also, you'll have noted, we'll hear it again in the bit in Lancaster, the air conditioning whirring noises off the fans when they're going. Another thing to note is as well that if you do have the train heat turned off, the fans on the air conditioning will not actually work. The fans will be stationary. I'll just show you in a minute so the heat's on. If I turn the train heat off like that, obviously they go off. They just turn on. There we go. Like so. And that's done with the button down on the cab. Here. Off and on. Cab light there. Horn as a new addition to the 86. It's a totally different horn from the 87. But that is just another little audio addition. The blowers are different on this as well, so when you put the fan into forward, like the fans are kicking, the sound's different as well. I do have a feeling that the motor pitch is maybe a bit different as well with the output, because these do have a lower power output, so they're working harder, and I feel like you do definitely hear them working harder. Some other bits and bobs. So I think this transpired into the Class 87's update a couple of months ago, but the blind has a nice fancy animation. It was something that I wanted to have on the 87 originally, but it never got there, sadly, at the time of that release. It came down sort of like to there, and that was it, and then it didn't have the motion down, which the lovely animation. I do like watching that. Max speed for the Class 86 is 100 miles per hour, as noted by up there. A couple of little things. Well, these little plated sections at the top are where the old destination winders used to be for the older era 86s. So back when they were first new, they used to have where the lights are, where those markers are. That's where the blinds used to be for the head code. Back in the early days, they just basically got took out, plated over, and they had marker lights put in there. The Bardic lamp is back. Well, again, if you're having issues with like adhesion, anti-slip brake will help you out there, and of course all the sanders. I'm just going to give you a little introduction to the in the manuals of the pack. British Rail Class 86 electric locomotives were built during the 1960s and were designed to be used on the newly electrified West Coast Main Line from London to Glasgow. Their introduction enabled replacement of many steam locomotives, which were finally withdrawn during 1968. The Class 86 was built to hold both freight and passenger services, and some units remain in service with a freight line until 2021. Some units are still being used in service after being exported to Bulgaria and Hungary. Class 86 entered service in 1965, but soon became known for its rough riding, which caused track damage. This was due to the major departure of the earlier designs with the use of the axle hung bogies rather than frame mount. Oh, sorry, not bogies. Traction motors. So they were axle hung rather than frame mounted. Meaning the axles became much heavier and were thus more prone to cause damage on the track, especially at speeds of over 90 miles an hour. I've just mentioned as well, obviously these were built for freight. This subclass wasn't. I believe the 86 think the O's did work on freight, like speed links and stuff, but the main freight ones were the /4s, 5s and 6s, I believe. Yeah, these were passenger locos for the /2s, hence why this pack was decided upon, mainly because we needed something for cross-country services, and it was this that we was massively needing, and of course with Mark 2s. Back onto the introduction. So to try and resolve the problem of the like track damage and stuff, in 1969 a single locomotive was fitted with flexi-coil suspension springs in its bogies. This proved successful, and the rest of the fleet gradually were modified to incorporate that. After the positive results of the modified suspension trial, locomotives were renumbered into two subclasses. The 86/0. These were left in the original as-built condition and had a maximum speed reduction from 100 mph to 80 mph. These units were generally restricted to lower passenger and freight services. However, where the 86/2 came in, these were incorporated, and they incorporated the improved suspension, which were allowing them to then operate up to 100 mph as maximum speed. Eight liveries come with the pack to drive. They are BR Blue, BR Blue 1 RCH, BR Blue 2 RCH, Intercity 1, Intercity 2, Intercity 1 RCH, Intercity 2 RCH, Intercity 3 RCH. And those are all various guises of the livery with RCH cables on the front or without. The rolling stock, however I'm going on this rake, is the Mk1 RMB buffet car. The RMB restaurant miniature buffet is basically a British Railways Mark 1 TSO, which is a tourist standard open coach in which the centre vestibule seating area had been replaced with the buffet counter and a small seating area, along with standing space and store cupboard. On either side of this are normal full seating areas. The RMBs were built between 1957 and 1962. And there are still quite a few in service on heritage railways across the UK. When you enter an RMB, make your way to the buffet area, where behind the operating roller shutter you will see a fully stocked area with a great variety of top quality curly sandwiches, fresh yesterday pork pies in two sizes, bags of crisps, bottles of soft drinks with flavours such as apple, orange or berry. If you have a sweet tooth, you can choose between the various chocolate bars and even some mint cake. If you fancy a biscuit, we have those too. If you want to be exotic, why not get some Turkish delight? It's all available, and all these are ready for your dedication. Served to you by the friendly, helpful steward. The RMB comes in the Intercity Executive and the BR Blue Grey liveries. The Mark II set of coaches was British Rail's second coach design. These steel carriages were built by British Rail's BREL workshop between 1964 and 1975. The Mark 2F has a semi-integral construction, giving it a more strength in the bodywork than the earlier Mark 1 coaches. These come in Mark 2S BSO with a blue-grey livery, Intercity livery. They've got a full interior, so you can do guard mode, you can play with the announcements and stuff in there. It all works. You have a TSO blue-grey and a TSO Intercity with a full explorable interior, of course, as you would expect. You've got the FO blue-grey and the FO Intercity, and again, full interior, and then one's got a little bit different in the seating layout, a bit more of a bulky seat. It's got sort of like surrounds around the head area and some nice posh cushions, and it's a 2-and-1 seating arrangement on those ones, so a bit more like luxurious in the room. The pack comes with one training module for the Class 86. It's an introduction. You've got journey mode, under the 5 scenarios which we mentioned at the beginning of this video. Timetable is a range of substitutions from the 8.7, so it basically alleviates the 8.7 doing stuff it shouldn't ever have been doing, but we had to have it in there because we'd lost a lot of services. As I mentioned, you've got mode, conductor mode as well. Simply find some services and it'll tell you if it's guard mode usable. You can use it in free roam on any route, so it's electric. You can make formations and chuck them into your own other timetables and play elsewhere, and slot in between if you wish to do so, or just simply on a normal free roam without any trains. Make your own sort of like services up. It's livery designer compatible. Just a slight mention on the livery designer. You might find that you might struggle to find them. However, they are there. There's a slight issue where they are coming up as a Mark III. So if you are struggling to find them, you search JT Mark III-A, they appear. It's a known about issue, and it is on the list of things to be fixed as soon as possible, as soon as we possibly can. Just waiting for the window to open up where we can do the fixes. So just bear with us on that one. An issue in the localization key, which we literally found at last minute. And we had gone past that time frame for doing the fixes for the day one patch, sadly. As I mentioned, do be assured it will be fixed as soon as possible. Anyone that makes a livery ahead of the fix, it will not break when the fix is made. It's just a fix to the tyres of the coach, but you can find it when it gets fixed to the Mark II. I'm also now for Lancaster, so we'll put a bit of brake on. When we come to Lancaster itself, we'll have a listen to the brakes as well, because they're a right good clunk. Audio itself was recorded by JT. Alex Riley did the recording. He had full reign on a Locomotive Services group, class. It was a class 40 rail tour from on the North Wales line. He managed to have an ECS to himself and record all the audio board pack. Big thanks to Locomotive Services and Chris Gallagher as well for organising that. Really do appreciate that. Not only just that though, they were very helpful in research as well. Alex went down to Locomotive Services at Crewe and managed to use 86101 for a lot of reference, especially for the cab itself, which was very useful. Other thanks go out, of course, to David Grief, who was another very useful source, as was James Mather, who have both been involved with the AC locomotives in past lives and current. Yeah, very invaluable information there. Helped a lot. Ed Fisk for the Seagrass stuff, as usual. He does a fantastic job in the blueprints. All the beating heart of the Locomotive and Coaches. As mentioned earlier, Simtrack Studios for their assistance in the scenario creation. Armstrong Powerhouse for the audio set for the 86. Matthew Wilson for the nameplates. Those that don't know who Matthew Wilson is, he is a well-known member of the community, especially in the Training Classics sector. Does a lot of reskins and nameplate stuff over there. And he's provided nameplates for all the TSW stuff so far that JT have worked on. Both like the 87, the 47. All been fantastic additions to the packs. Right, so there's the brakes screeching and the clunking. Just have a put the reverser into off. What we'll do. Quick nosy in the coaches. Yeah, the aircon. Got a an FO. Due to your late running, another service is close behind. There's no opportunity to perform the run round here. So instead we'll be doing that at Carnforth. That's not an FO, is it? I don't think, no, we haven't got an FO on this, right? I'll show you an FO. Right, we need to jump back on. We need to clear the road. Yeah, normally the run round would be performed here, but because we are running late, we can't, so we're getting the, this is where the delayed and rerouted comes in. The thing I like about the ones without the cables on the front, it makes it look a bit like an early AL, like 1 or 2, 3, 4 or 5, like the early roarers. Well, there's just something about it. Gives it a bit more of a sort of striking look. Also, another thing to note as well, we've got an extra window on the 86, the centre there, where the 87 had 2 long panels. Oh look, I've managed to blow it. What do you do when you blow the locomotive? Well, you need to pop it back into off. You need to let it run down, first of all. You don't need to actually bring the loco to a stop, just let it keep rolling. You'll know if you've done that because you've got a red light on the fault indicator. Right, so all you do is overload reset, clears, and you can gain power again. A lot more chance of making it blow if you don't watch where your amps are. You literally get it where it needs to be, let it settle itself a bit and then give it some more. I'm going to let it run down again because there's a neutral section coming up for Hess Bank. One thing to note as well, on this cab, we actually can hear it tapping up and down. When we go into the other cab in a bit, you'll not hear that. Because the tap equipment, like the changing equipment, is at this end of the Loco. Yeah, the ABB going back on there. If you find that you don't gain contact again at the other side of the neutral section, all you need to do is overload reset and it will come back on. The pack itself, at the time of this video going out, will be already out on the console. 10 o'clock in the morning, at the same time as this video's gone up. It'll come live on Steam from 6 o'clock and on Epic Games Store usually about 4 o'clock. It'll be available also from the Just Trains website. If you're a PC Steam user, please do support directly. If you're able to do so, fantastic. JT really does appreciate that. Pack's the same price, but if you have reward points already on your account, you can use them to make it a little bit cheaper, and you do gain reward points again for your purchase. You can put them towards something again after. You basically just get a Steam key, activate it, and it adds it onto your account. Simple as that. We're approaching a red, taking it cautious. I'm going to put too much power on it because we need to be down to 15 in a minute. This might be the first time we've actually driven into here on a video. I know we didn't last use car for Thomas the Tank as a Freightliner. We're going to be doing a little bit of run round here. It was fun. Now that you're off the main line, it's time to perform the run round and head back to Lancaster. So, a couple from the coaches. Simple. That was what we potentially would have been, well, probably would hold up if we did a run round at Lancaster. First of all, a nice screenshot for the thumbnail. I've no idea what I've just done to the weather there. Don't think I'm going to get sun on the front. Just reset that because that's so much worse than what I wanted. Try again. Just go with how that actually looks, really. Vignette. Maybe we'll use it, maybe we won't. I have loads of pictures that I could probably use. We'll go with it. Right, Cardiff Platform 2 is where we need to go to next. We don't need to go too fast here, we'll just let it roll. It's slightly downhill this loop, but it'll keep momentum. Probably gain a little bit of speed along the way. Quite bulky bogies on these as well, as you can see. Almost looks like a track magnet, but it's actually offset from the, I think a little bit offset from the track. Those are the coil bogies, like the flexi coils that go. Like a weight or something that's been mounted to the bottom. Definitely a lot different than the 87 bogie. Right, off with the markers over here. Put the tail light to the left. Release the loco brake and put that into up down. That's switch into off. And then hit the key off. And then we need to put the AWS and edge switch into off. And we can go through to the other cab. So just showing this end, hot plate, mentioned before, is circular on number 1 end. Oh, and that's on, that's on. Again, key. Spotlight to first application. Into forward we go. As well as the tail light. Right, there we go, and into running we go with the brakes. Oh, wait, we go. No, you can't hear the tap changing this end. I tell you what, with the heat that we've been having this week, I mean, it's Sunday night that I've recorded this video, ahead of, obviously, for the release. But it's so hot. I'm hoping you can't hear any fan. I've got a fan on that's blowing like some air on me, and the PC's fans are going like the clappers at the minute. It's so warm. I'm amazed that it's not blown up or something. Yeah, it's been a warm one. Quick run around of the stop just to the ground signal just beyond the bridge. Then we'll shunt back onto the stock and make our way again. Right, so rinse repeat process. Left on them. And back to the other cab we go. have to probably tab. We should be able to go here. Watch it chuck me out now. No, it hasn't chucked me out. Always worries me when you don't see the signal actually change, because it's occupied with the coaches. We're seeing such a long-winded process changing it, but it doesn't really actually take that long in the long run of things. I'm gonna have to drop. I have to drop the Buckeye. Well, another wire as well. It's just you can see the animated brake rig in there. We're gonna alert about on Monday in the JT stream. Toilets in there as well, by the way. They've got the urinal. Everyone comes to love. You know, it's good to go here. Train heat isn't on. You see, so that on. Now on. That's just because we've obviously been uncoupled. Just check that it's on. Yeah, the whirring sound. Right, back to Lancaster. Just while we're here, actually, you can compare like the differences on the noses against the two Locos there. Look. You can just see that obviously the windows are different. The noses are totally different as well. Got the marker lights in the middle there, whereas on the 87 they're sort of to the left and the right, up above each of the tail lights. Another little thing just to mention on these as well, with two different pantographs. So you've got the AMBR, I think it's the AMBR, and Stone Favorley. So Stone Favorley, Bretnell Willis ones, I forget which ones are which. I'm absolutely useless at that. One's 9 speed, one I believe not. Yeah. The gubbins on the roof there. All nice. Get a lick on. Without blowing it. So basically what you want to do is run it in just below the red. See it going up again, the two needles going up towards the red. Let it settle itself back down. We're taking a bit more power. Another thing to note as well, the 86 does not have a weak field, which is an extra notch, which is on the 87. Essentially it's like a little extra boost of power. Essentially help them overshaft, really, I would suppose. But yeah, these don't have that. But again, you really do have to forward plan your driving with these. Make sure you notch back down, run down in good time. Don't be overdoing your power, because you'll find that you can over creep over the 100 mark and then you've got to run it back down, slow it down. So we're going to run down now because we have the neutral section coming up very soon. So again, it's forward planning. Make sure you're ready. But it does make you concentrate, and you have to think about it a lot. You really do have to drive these locomotives. Better than driving something computerized. It does it all for you, just with an A and D, power on, power off. You really are working them. So coming over the magnets now. Lights off, lights back on when it all comes back to life again. We're just easing it down for the next signal because of the release from red. Approach control signal. Providing you're doing the magic speed, sort of around 15 mile an hour, sort of like that, I think it is. Maybe a little bit more, to be fair. As long as it sees that you're slowing down for it, it normally clears for you. Just make sure you're driving responsibly and not like a boy racer. Somewhere around here, it should clear it. There we go, it's cleared itself up. It doesn't necessarily do it when you go with the magnet yet. As long as it sees you're at a target speed, it'll clear. Platform 4, where we'll be beginning the service. William Webb Ellis is on that one. Another short set. So you can see we're still very, very much delayed. We're about half hour late here. Ticking away, ready to come back to life. You look on these as well compared to the at the 87, just the difference in the bodywork underneath. Also with the wheels, I've got these like bolts on them, and pretty certain the 87 doesn't have them, so not sure what that's all about. Yeah. I think out of the two, like this and the 87, I do prefer driving this one. I just find this is a bit more of a challenge to keep with the timetable. You need the air come off there. Absolutely storming out of there. Also, got to put the tail lamp on the back. They're very bad me. You've seen as well, I've just put in the red there, but it didn't blow. As long as you sort of bring it back down in good time, it won't necessarily blow itself. Just a little heads up as well, if you do want to put like the RMB onto your own formations with a steam locomotive, they are dual braked, you can put them in there as well. Another cool little fact, the red tape is there for, now what we believe is to aid in grip on the actual handle, and also to stop the driver's hand from getting cold in the winter months on the bare metal, because these cabs, let's face it, wouldn't have been the most warmest of places, especially in them cold months. They're very drafty. Golden hour now, setting in with the lighting. With this scenario, this is the shortest of the 5 as well, coming at about 1 hour and 5 minutes. At this point, if you've enjoyed what you've seen, why not consider picking it up? You don't actually have to have West Coast Mainline Preston to Carlisle either for this one. If you don't want this route, but you want to drive it, you can still pick up that pack and you can still run it on other routes. It'll work on West Coast Mainline South, it'll work on East Coast Mainline if you want to do it there. And of course, like such as the Mild Mainline or also the Suffragette line, if you wish to do it on them, you could run it across those routes. Why not take it up across the Edinburgh to Glasgow route? The world is your oyster. You can do what you want at the end of the day in this game. I'm hoping that someone does a proper reskin of 86259 as well in the electric blue livery. The proper Rail Tour stock. That'd be nice. So I will do that and I'll parade up and down different routes. In 3 your own. I'll have a time in my life doing that. 259 as well is Les Ross, or also known as Peter Pan. It's known as Peter Pan in this era, and that is how it's represented in this era. Les Ross is 259 is what you see up and down on the main line, usually on a Saturday, doing the Cumbrian Mountain Express Rail Tour from London Euston. Runs to Carlisle, and then normally comes back either down the Setland Carlisle or the Cumbrian coast. So it'll come run as the 86 out of Euston up to normally Carnforth. It'll stop there and swap to steam, then runs further north, and the steam drags it back out either over Setland Carlisle or Cumbrian coast back round to Preston, where Les Ross 86259 will be waiting to take it back over and run back south to London. Coming up to the final neutral section, which is coming up now. Oh, excellent. So it's not come back on, look. So it's failed, it's not come on. So all you do is ta-da, back to life. Literally the overload reset. Doesn't happen all the time, but it does occasionally happen. Get myself to a vantage point which I come to sometimes. However, these days it's actually a green footbridge that's taken its place, but it used to be many years ago a foot crossing. It's St Heliers Close. Oh yeah. That's a bit of Doppel there. far from Preston now, doesn't it? Pretty much the final stretch. Technically, at this point, you probably will have the blind down. It's an interesting one. It makes you wonder how people actually saw through that. You can't really see very well, can you? It must have been a struggle. Fucking Eddie. Right, last 2 miles into Preston. Oh, there's Pac-Man. Up on 2 for this as well, we're actually crossing over. More of an unusual path in this. I don't actually think the heat is actually affecting the PC at the minute. A little bit more juddery than it normally is. I'm hoping that tomorrow, Monday, is not as hot. Looking at the weather actually on my computer, I reckon there's light rain occurring at the minute, which I think is a bit of a bold claim because it doesn't look like it's raining. However, I tell you what, if it is, I'll be out of that garden in a second. Even if it is 11 o'clock. I'm standing it. Cool off. Thank you very much for watching, however, though, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget like, share, subscribe, hit notification bell for future videos. If you like what you're seeing, do go and pick up a copy and support JT on that one. Look at catching on Twitch on a Monday and Friday normally at twitch.tv/trainsim_TV. Drop us a comment, some feedback or anything like that. If you think there's anything we need to know, let us know. We'll take that on board. Links are all in the description as and when they go live for Steam. Usual, so do keep an eye out for that. I will put the JT website on, however, also, if you do wish to pick up for the website. But this is Preston. Thank you for watching. Take care and bye for now.